They buried the evidence. We dig it up. What you're about to see will change everything you thought you knew about prehistoric Britain. This is the Artifacts Detective, and today we're investigating Britain's darkest archaeological secret, systematic cannibalism spanning 4,000 years. Welcome to the Artifacts Detective, where we investigate history's greatest mysteries through archaeological evidence. Today we're examining discoveries that have stunned the archaeological community and fundamentally challenged our understanding of prehistoric Britain. We'll examine the archaeological evidence from two shocking sites. Gough's Cave, where 14,700-year-old human skulls were crafted into drinking cups. Charterhouse Warren, Britain's largest prehistoric massacre site. The scientific methods that prove beyond doubt these bones tell stories of cannibalism. What this means for our understanding of prehistoric Britain. But first, let me show you something that will make you question everything you thought you knew about our ancient ancestors. For over a century, historians believed prehistoric Britons practiced simple burial rituals, treating their dead with reverence and respect. But in Somerset's Cheddar Gorge, archaeologists discovered evidence that changed everything. This raises critical questions. Why do these ancient bones show systematic butchery marks? What drove prehistoric peoples to consume their own kind? Why hasn't this been widely discussed in mainstream archaeology? To answer these questions, we need to examine the evidence hidden in Britain's caves. Let's start with Gough's Cave, where the story begins 14,700 years ago. During the late glacial period, as massive ice sheets retreated northward, a group of Magdalenian hunter-gatherers made their home in this limestone cave. What archaeologists found here defies explanation. Human skulls carefully shaped into drinking vessels. But that's just the beginning. Using advanced microscopy, researchers discovered something shocking. 95.1% of human cranial fragments bear cut marks from stone tools. These aren't random scratches. They're systematic modifications, identical to how these people butchered horses and deer for food. According to Dr. Sylvia Bello from the Natural History Museum, London, whose research appears in the Journal of Human Evolution, 2015, volume 82, pages 170 to 189. The evidence at Gough's Cave points to a sophisticated culture of butchering and carving human remains. The systematic analysis reveals at least 6 individuals underwent this treatment, including a 3-year-old child, specimen GC 87, 1130, 2 teenagers, and 3 adults. Each bone tells a story written in stone tool marks, human tooth impressions, and deliberate fracture patterns. So far, we've established that Gough's Cave contains systematically modified human remains dating back 14,700 years. But the real investigation begins now as we examine evidence that's been hiding in plain sight. Let's start with the archaeological evidence from Gough's Cave. These skulls were discovered in multiple excavations, beginning in the 1880s and continuing through modern archaeological work. Using 3D microscopy and scanning electron microscopy, researchers documented the precise manufacturing sequence. First, soft tissue was removed using stone tools. Next, facial bones were carefully extracted. Finally, the cranial vault was shaped into a vessel. Scientific analysis using the Alicona infinite focus system creates 3D models with sub-micrometer accuracy. These reveal cut marks invisible to the naked eye, distinguishing stone tool cuts from natural damage. According to research published in PLOS 1, February 2011, Volume 6, Issue 2, E17026, by Bello, Parfit, and Stringer. These represent the oldest directly dated skull cups in the archaeological record, with ultrafiltration radiocarbon dates of 14,700 plus or minus 160 calendar years before present. OXA-18052 and 14,850 plus or minus 170 calendar years before present, Oxa-19243. They predate similar artifacts by thousands of years, with the next oldest examples appearing in Neolithic Anatolia around 9,000 years ago. But there's one piece of evidence that changes everything. A human radius bone, a forearm bone, bears mysterious zigzag engravings. What makes this remarkable is the timing. Analysis proves these marks were created during the cannibalistic process, not before death, not after consumption, but during. Dr. Bello's team, in research published in PLOS 1, August 2017, Volume 12, Issue 8, E0182127, explains, the sequence of modifications strongly suggests that the engraving was an intrinsic part of the cannibalistic ritual and held hidden symbolic meaning. This discovery represents the oldest known engraved human bone in the archaeological record, pushing back evidence of symbolic cannibalism by millennia. This wasn't mindless savagery. This was ritual. How can archaeologists prove these bones represent cannibalism rather than ritual defleshing? First, dating. Ultra-filtered radiocarbon analysis places Gough's cave occupation at 14,700 plus or minus 200 years before present. Second, advanced imaging reveals microscopic details invisible to earlier researchers. Most compelling, 65% of postcranial bones show human tooth marks. These scores and pits match human dentition patterns exactly. Long bones show systematic breakage for marrow extraction. Spongy bone exhibits crushing patterns consistent with nutrient extraction. According to the Journal of Human Evolution, 2015, Volume 82, pages 170 to 189, this provides incontrovertible evidence of cannibalism through multiple lines of analysis. The quantitative data speaks volumes. Secondary burial or ritual defleshing typically shows modification on less than 5% of skeletal elements. Gough's cave shows 65% for postcranial elements and an extraordinary 95.1% for cranial fragments. These percentages match or exceed those found at known cannibalistic sites like Fontbrégeois Cave in France. The evidence is mounting. Skull cups, engraved bones, human tooth marks, all point to systematic cannibalism. But there's one more piece that changes our entire understanding. Modern DNA analysis adds another dimension to this investigation. Nuclear and mitochondrial DNA extracted from the petrous bone, the densest part of the skull, reveals these individuals belong to the Gough-Q2 genetic cluster. This population spread across northwestern Europe between 19,000 and 14,000 years ago. Here's what's remarkable. Every site with Gough-Q2 ancestry shows evidence of cannibalism. Meanwhile, contemporary Villabruna populations practiced standard burial. Published in Quaternary Science Reviews, October 2023, Volume 318, 108359, by Bello, Walduck, and colleagues. This genetic cultural correlation suggests cannibalism was integral to Magdalenian identity. The research team analysed 82 Upper Paleolithic individuals across Europe, finding a 100% correlation between Gough-Q2 ancestry and cannibalistic practices. This wasn't an isolated practice. From France to Poland, 13 of 25 analysed Magdalenian sites reveal human consumption. But the story doesn't end there. Fast forward 10,000 years to the Bronze Age. At Charterhouse, Warren, just miles from Gough's cave, cavers in the 1970s made a gruesome discovery. In 2024, Oxford archaeologists finally completed their comprehensive analysis of these remains, publishing their findings in Antiquity Journal, December 2024, advance online publication. Professor Rick Schulting's team from Oxford School of Archaeology identified at least 37 individuals, men, women, and children, through meticulous analysis of over 3,000 bone fragments. Unlike Gough's cave's careful ritual processing, these bones tell a story of violence. According to Professor Schulting in the Antiquity publication, it paints a considerably darker picture of the period than many would have expected. Published in Antiquity Journal, December 2024, the analysis documents systematic killing followed by cannibalistic consumption. The team identified 1,287 cut marks on human bones, with mandibles showing defleshing patterns and long bones fractured for marrow extraction, identical to cattle processing techniques from the same period. Then, unceremonious disposal alongside butchered cattle. The contrast is striking. Where Magdalenian peoples carefully crafted skull cups, Bronze Age perpetrators treated victims as dehumanized enemies. Now we understand both sides: ritual cannibalism at Gough's cave and violent massacre at Charterhouse Warren. But what does this mean for our understanding of prehistoric Britain? Let's review what we've discovered. 14,700-year-old skull cups, the oldest directly dated in the world. The oldest engraved human bone created during cannibalistic ritual. Genetic evidence linking cannibalism to specific prehistoric populations. Britain's largest prehistoric massacre, with evidence of cannibalistic consumption. This evidence completely rewrites our understanding of prehistoric Britain. The Magdalenians weren't simple hunter-gatherers. They possessed complex ritual beliefs about death and consumption. As Dr. Bello explains, cannibalism may just have been their way of dealing with dead bodies, different in practice, but not in meaning to cremations, burials, and mummifications. James Cole's 2017 analysis in Scientific Reports, April 2017, Volume 7, Article 44,707, calculated the caloric value of human body parts compared to typical prey animals. His research demonstrated this wasn't about nutrition. A red deer provides 163,680 calories versus a human's 143,771 calories, with plenty of horses, 200,000 plus calories each, and deer available at Gough's cave, plus evidence of successful hunting throughout the occupation. Starvation clearly wasn't the motive. Instead, we're looking at complex cultural practices, maintaining spiritual connections, transferring ancestral power, or marking group identity. These discoveries are just the beginning. Future research using environmental DNA from cave sediments may reveal dietary details. Isotope analysis of tooth enamel can track individual life histories. Machine learning algorithms may identify patterns in bone modifications humans miss. Museums across Britain house collections awaiting reanalysis as techniques improve. The artifacts don't lie. The evidence speaks for itself. These weren't primitive savages. They were complex societies with beliefs about death that seem alien yet comprehensible. From Magdalenian skull cups to Bronze Age massacres, Britain's archaeological record preserves evidence of cannibalism spanning millennia. And what it tells us is that prehistoric Britain was far more complex, far more ritualistic, and far darker than we ever imagined. What do you think about this discovery? Does this evidence convince you that cannibalism was a widespread practice in prehistoric Britain? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to see more archaeological investigations like this, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Uncover more ancient mysteries. Follow the Artifacts Detective and join the investigation.